Hello everyone, Joshua Myers here.
And I'm Abe.
I'm Jay.
And Josh too.
Hello everyone, Joshua Myers here, and today I'm going to be reviewing A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood from 2019.
Hey, Mr. Rogers!
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you please? Won't you please? Please won't you be my neighbor?
That was wonderful.
A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood stars Tom Hanks, Matthew Rhys, Susan Watson, Chris Cooper, and is directed by Meryl Hiller. The plot of It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood is that a jaded magazine writer learns about empathy, kindness, and decency while preparing a profile of Fred Rogers, aka Mr. Rogers. Now, before I get on to my review, I would like to say that this was one of those movies that I missed out on last year. I've been hearing good things about it ever since it came out, and I have Amazon Prime, so I watched it, and I do got some thoughts, so let's just get right into them. I overall liked the story. I really did. It's a simple story, but it delves into some stuff that what Mr. Rogers would talk about on his show. And before I get any further too, I never grew up with Mr. Rogers. I never did. I have yet to see a single episode of his show. So, and this was basically my introduction to Mr. Rogers is through this movie. Well, in terms of seeing how the show kind of was and everything. So, I wasn't expecting Mr. Rogers to get into some deep stuff, actually. Which, from what I know, he has on his show before, talking about stuff like war, death. Even one time, like, with his sock puppet, the Tiger, Daniel Tiger is like, what does assassination mean? I never grew up with Mr. Rogers, so I wasn't sure what to expect with this movie outside of what I've been hearing, that it's a good movie. But overall, I liked the story. It's a very simple story if you look at it, but they did so much with the story that I was invested. It's another one of those movies I was invested in. I cared about the characters, especially our main character, Lloyd. I just related to Lloyd so much in this movie. And because of that, the stuff they tackled really pulled a few heartstrings, I must admit. This is one of the few movies that actually made me cry. Because a lot of the stuff Lloyd goes through in this movie, I've dealt with. I've dealt with stuff like anger. I've always had a hard time dealing with anger. And learning to forgive people. I've dealt with that too. There's some things I can easily forgive, but then there's just some things I feel like I can not forgive. I've also, without getting into too much, dealt with father issues. And that's what this movie covered. And I just so connected with Lloyd as a character in that I kind of wasn't even thinking he was a character. And what I mean by that, I was seeing the movie not through his eyes, but through my eyes. And I got emotional, I must admit. There's quite a few of moments, I think I counted like maybe 4 times throughout the whole movie where I cried. I legit teared up. But it was in a good way. And it helped me realize some stuff that people have been telling me for years, but I just never put the dots together on certain things. And this was such a heartwarming movie that it actually made me feel better about myself and just about the world in general. And also another positive I have with this movie is the cinematography. For the most part, the cinematography is amazing. The film looked great on my 4K TV. I also like the music. I don't know, I like a lot of things about this movie, and this is close to perfect, might as well be a perfect movie, although I do have one issue with the film, which we'll get to that in a little bit. yeah, this movie helped me come to terms with some stuff that I've been dealing with for years. And even though I never grew up with Mr. Rogers, it really touched me. But again, without me having any context of the original show for the most part, and Mr. Rogers as a person or anything, yeah, I really felt emotional towards this movie. Let's just get into my negative. I only have one. And that's, while I said the cinematography for the most part is good, there's a few things, like there was one or two moments where the cinematography wasn't really that good. It was too shaky, too, like, almost handheld. And I didn't really care for that. And even the color correction in that kind of looked unprofessional too. But other than that, those are my only issues. Now let's get into my rating. So with that said, I'm going to give It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood a 5 out of 5 stars. This is a great movie. I really love this movie. There's only a few movies that actually get me emotionally. And on different levels. I mean, this movie made me happy, it made me sad a few times, but not a bad sad. It made me kind of sad where, you're happy, but, there's a touch of sadness, like genuine sadness, but it gives you hope. And this was a movie that I felt like I needed, and I feel like a lot of people need to watch right now, especially with everything going on in this world and everything. These are crazy times. Yeah, I think, just if you're feeling blue during this time, just go watch Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Not knowing much about Mr. Rogers and the show, but I think this film perfectly captures what I think the show was and what Mr. Rogers is like as a person. Before I go, I would like to say something that I think Mr. Rogers would say right now about these times, and that's just to have faith. Faith that things will get better. And if we pull through, work together, do the things we need to do, then everything will be alright. Not everything's going to be perfect. This is not a perfect world, and we're not perfect people. Human beings are flawed. All of us are. There's not one perfect human being on this earth. So yeah, we just have to learn from our mistakes, hoist ourselves back up, and try to learn how to live with each other. And especially during these times with lockdowns and it does get crazy. I will admit, there's a few times I've gone a bit loco. I always have to remember, I just have to have faith that everything's going to be fine in the end. It may not be perfect, no. Trust me, I mean, nothing's perfect. But it will be fine. As long as we work together and have faith. We all do our part. So that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Oh, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine?